Hello again, welcome back to Illegally Cited. This is BGFH back for another video, and believe it or not, this time I've got something a little bit unique for you. I've recently had a couple of games that I've wanted to record for you guys, and they just, for whatever reason, FRAPS really didn't want to record them. One of them started out in like a windowed mode, and then went to full screen, and there was a couple full screen games in general that just didn't seem to want to capture. And there was a couple that I really wanted to cover, so I was looking into FRAPS alternatives or ideas for getting those games to record, and just today I stumbled upon something that I didn't even know. The new version of FRAPS, granted the one that I grabbed was a couple years old, and I kind of had this philosophy of, hey, it's working perfectly for 98% of what I'm doing. If it's not broken, don't fix it, let's just roll with it. But I discovered that the new version of FRAPS will let you record the Windows desktop in addition to full screen DirectX games. So I'm going to, hopefully this doesn't drive you too crazy, but I'm going to use the Windows magnifier just so it's a little bit easier for me to get around. That way you can kind of, see how I would naturally do things as well. I don't have it zoomed in too far, so yes, it is bigger, but you guys, it shouldn't be too bad. I mean, you can still see at least the whole FRAPS window on the screen at once. So I figure what I'll do is I will show you the little tip of how to record from the Windows desktop and a couple little caveats to that. And then I'll just give you an overview of the FRAPS program in general. And, for any of you who, watch the channel or watch other YouTube videos and be like, I want to do that, but it seems really complicated and I don't really know. I don't want to get, I don't know if I really want to get started. I got to tell you, it's actually, at least the level that I'm working with, it's very, very easy to do. So let's start up here. We got some tabs across the top, and I'll just walk you through them. So we're going to go to General, and I'm going to go down here. And the main thing is I don't let it run, I don't have it minimized at startup, and I don't have it running at Windows startup. Aside from antivirus software, I really don't like anything to run at startup. If I want you to run, I will open the program myself. So I like to keep a pretty efficiently running system. So I usually just keep all these unchecked. Now, here is the feature, and I would highly recommend if you have an older version to upgrade to the newer version, which I'll show you in a minute. This is the option that has made this and future videos possible. So I check this box here, which says Monitor Aero Desktop. So the way that FRAPS apparently captures full screen Windows desktop content is it uses the Windows Aero system scheme, kind of like what I'm doing with Windows Magnifier. Remember in the Windows Magnifier AT demo video I did a while back, one of the things I said about that is that it also requires the Windows Aero system scheme to run because it uses some sort of multimedia something or other that enables that to work. So if you're using a basic system scheme or something like that, Magnifier is not going to work. Likewise, if you don't have Windows Aero enabled here, FRAPS is not going to work either. So enabling that one little checkbox and upgrading to the latest version seems to have solved, I'm not going to speak too soon, but seems to have solved a lot of my remaining problems that I was trying to figure out as far as recording PC content. So over on the right here, you get your version number, and the version you want to be up to is 3.5.99. I was actually running 3.5.0, which did have that checkbox, and I didn't even really realize it or didn't know what it did. Just kind of overlooked it, and I didn't think I could record the desktop with FRAPS. But when I tried it with that version, it kind of went a little janky and just recorded a black screen. And if I went into some programs, you just get some really weird like patterns and fuzz and stuff. So I'm like, oh, I'm so close. Upgraded to the latest version. Boom. Instantly seemed to work fine. Did a couple test videos, worked great. So let's pop over here. FPS. This is a feature that I really don't use. This, I'm not even exactly sure what it does. Something about recording and then like seeing how many frames per second it's going to capture at, or it's going to display. For the most part, I really don't use this. I mean, if you're really, really hardcore into, you want to make sure that it's the highest frames per second possible with all your, whatever game you're capturing, your settings and stuff. You definitely want to check this tab out, but I'm not going to spend really any more time here because I really don't use it. And for what I do, this other stuff works great. Now, the movies tab is where I do all of my stuff. So when I record videos, this is the tab that I use. So here we've got our path, and this is where videos are going to end up. I don't want them on my C drive because I'm trying to keep that open as it is. I do have multiple hard drives, so I said, okay, put it in this on my D drive in the FRAPS folder that I created. Pretty self-explanatory. Your hotkey, again, pretty self-explanatory. If I were to click in here and then hit any button on the keyboard, I could change that. 95% of the time, I just keep it at F9. But when I record with Minecraft, I forget what F9 does in Minecraft, but it seems to conflict, so I do change it there. And F12 seems to generally behave okay when recording Minecraft. So sometimes I'll toggle it out, but usually I just keep it at F9. Down here on the left-hand corner, you've got your how many frames per second do you want it. I usually stick at 30. I don't know if YouTube has upgraded its support, but last I heard, YouTube videos they only recognize content it only can take content in 30 frames per second, so it doesn't record 60 frames per second. And I could be totally wrong about that. This is something that I read a little while back and haven't bothered to check if it has changed since. Now you got your full size and half size. I went half size, and that's what it defaults to. Most people are probably going to want to, especially if you're doing something like YouTube, you probably are just going to want to stick with that. If you're not doing YouTube, if you're doing really want to do the high res as best as you can, you may want to go full size, but I will warn you that's going to take up a lot more actual storage as you're saving these videos. So, use that as you will, but just remember it's going to take up a boatload more storage to do so. So over on the right here, you got your audio options, and this is where you want to record. I always have this checked because I want to record my Windows 7 sounds because I want to record the game that I'm playing. And I can record it in stereo or mono. Definitely, of course, would want to do stereo 99% of the time. And then you can check this box for your microphone, and then you choose your recording device. I don't even really play with this. It just seems to work. I plug in my USB headset, and yeah, just leave this checked, and we're good to go. So all this other stuff, I don't really play with. I just leave it alone. So those are the settings that you really want to, or that I usually just play with just to get these videos recorded. Finally, we've got our screenshots tab, and if you're doing something, I know Steam has its own screenshot system that you can use, but if you're playing a non-Steam game and you do want to take a capture, you can do it here. Just like the movies, you can specify a path. As you can see, I haven't changed it yet because I really don't use it right now. You got your hotkey, and then again, you got your file format. and a few other options on the right. So you can play with those kind of as you will. The benefit to doing this, especially if you're not using Steam and usually use like print screen and stuff, the benefit to this is that you don't have to do the print screen and then basically paste it into an image editing program like Paint or whatever you have on your system, and then save it that way. So it's just a one-step, hey, choose your file format, hit F10, boom, you're done. So a lot more efficient there. But yeah, so like I said, as far as the way I record content, I mean, I don't do anything fancy. I don't do any custom intros or anything, any kind of crazy filters or anything like that. What you see is just pretty much raw game footage with commentary. So the way I use FRAPS is just I make sure I have all my settings correct. I open up the game that I want to record. Now, usually keep in mind also, one thing I didn't mention is that I do almost always have to adjust the game volume. I might do that within the game, but I might also just Alt-Tab out if the game lets me and doesn't crash and get mad. Usually most modern games are fine with it. I even have a shortcut set up so that I do Windows 4. There we got my volume mixer. Boom, it's just a quick way to get there. So let me pop into my magnifier again. And then you notice that if I were to do one of these, if I did click and hold, I'm not going to do it now because I don't want to adjust the levels, but to the left of the little slider is a number for a percentage. So, like I said, if I'm recording commentary, which I always am, I'm going to want to lower the game volume because I have, when I was originally figuring this out, what I found is that if I didn't adjust anything, the game volume would be super loud, sometimes louder than me or as loud as me, and it just was not a really good mix at all. So I typically hover, believe it or not, you got to crank it really pretty far down if you want your voice to be pretty decently above the dialogue or above the game level. So I usually anywhere between 12 and 20. I typically average out around 15. If it's a game where I maybe won't talk as much, or if it's really story heavy and I want you to really hear the dialogue, or something like when I did Stanley Parable, I think I might have done that. I done that one at like 16 or 18%. And that seemed to come in a little bit better. So it just depends on what I'm recording. Sometimes I'll do a quick, before I record the real video, I'll do a quick record and see if, the content that I want to capture is at a level that I'm happy with. So I'll do it that way. But basically, like I said, if you're interested in recording content like this, using FRAPS is very, very easy to do. You just, like I said, what I do is I open the game, switch out, adjust my little volume, switch back into the game, and since I know what my shortcut key is, I just hit F9, and I start talking, and I start playing. So, I'll do my little intro, welcome to Illegally Cited, or whatever it happens to be, kind of mix it up a little bit. But I do my intro, and then I just start recording, and then playing the game straight through, however long I want to. When I'm done, hit F9 again, and it stops. And I don't have to wait, I don't have to wait at all for processing. It's not like it has to render everything because FRAPS does that on the fly. I can literally go into my FRAPS folder, and you notice that I've got, so this is a video that an earlier attempt at this that I just recorded, and I'm like, I didn't quite say that quite as well as I wanted to. So you know what? We're gonna zap that. This is the video that I'm recording right now. It's a temporary thing. So when I'm done with this, I can pretty much instantly switch back to this folder and watch it and see how it turned out. So this is, like I said, this is my directory where all the videos go. This kind of gives you a sneak peek as to some of the content that I've already recorded. I try to stay a little bit ahead of things a little bit. So if something comes up where I'm out of town or busy or sick or something, I still have kind of a few videos to go that I can jump to, and I don't have to scramble at the last minute to record something. So quite a bit of content on the way and more to go, especially now that I can do this full screen magnification, or not full screen magnification, full screen Windows desktop recording. So that pretty much wraps up FRAPS and what it is, how I use it, and how you could use it to do similar type of content. Like I said, it's very easy. There's nothing really that complicated about it at all. I mean, what I showed you in this video is pretty much all you got to do. I may disable the record desktop feature if I'm just going to record a game, because I don't know if it takes any additional processor power, but we'll see with that in the future. But yeah, you set that, you set your video settings, and then your path and your shortcut, your microphone and your audio, boom, you're good to go. So it's very easy to use and not expensive either. You can get a free trial or a free version of FRAPS, which I believe the demo restricts you to 10 minutes of video recording time, and then it just stops. So then you would have to start another video. I mean, like I said, I actually really like the program just because it works really well for what I need it for, and it's really easy to use, really straightforward. So I believe the full license is like 30 or 40 bucks. So definitely not expensive, especially if you look at, when I was in college, we looked at another program that I like, but boy, is it expensive. Camtasia Studio, which I've referred to a couple times on the channel, if you don't have education pricing, it's like 300 bucks. So $30 or $40 compared to 300. Yeah, I think I'll go with the cheaper option, and it's actually quite good. So works for me. That is a quick demo of FRAPS, and hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys found it helpful. And like I said, just remember all